This is the audio setup for the Panasonic 150 if you're connecting a dynamic microphone or a condenser microphone. First thing, there are two inputs on the camcorder. You have a line and a mic input for each input. You want to make sure it's on mic if you are using a microphone. That is probably one of the most important steps. I've got a handheld dynamic mic that I'm going to connect with an XLR cable. And typically I usually connect it to input 2, and I'll explain that in just a second. Next thing you want to do is plug your headphones in. It's at the back of the camcorder next to the battery, and you'll see the headphone symbol. To adjust the volume of the headphones, you'll go to the side of the camcorder and there's an audio monitor. There's a plus and a minus. So plus turns the headphones up, minus turns it down. Next thing, you want to make sure that it is on mic, and I am plugging into input 2. So input 2 is where my mic is plugged in. If it hasn't been open already, go ahead and open up the display panel on the side of the camcorder and check your channels. Now, these camcorders have 2 channels. They are separate from each other. So you can select an input for channel 1 and an input for channel 2. If it's on INT, then that means it's the internal mic on the camcorder. If you had something plugged into input 1, you would select input 1 for channel 1. Also, these camcorders have phantom power. Those are for condenser microphones, so those should be off when using a dynamic microphone. Now in this case, I plugged the mic into input 2. So I'm going to select input 2 for channel 1. I make sure the phantom power is off for both channels. So I'm picking up the microphone in input 2, and I'm going to adjust the level. Now, you'll see the levels on the meter as I move this level adjustment around, and you can see the input for channel 1, and you can also see the input level for channel 2, which is on the internal mic on the camcorder. And there are your levels. Now I'm going to use a condenser mic. This is a shotgun mic. Same XLR connection. I'm plugging into input 2. I usually like to plug into input 2 because it's both a selection for channel 1 and channel 2 in case I wanted to have it go to both. In this case, I do need to put the phantom power to on for input 2, since that's the input that I have the mic connected to. And then I can adjust the channel 1 audio that's on input 2. If I wanted the microphone to go to both channels, I can select input 2 on channel 1 and channel 2. Usually I like to do this with a boom mic or with a handheld mic, and I'll have one level that's at a good level. The 2 white bars on the meter that you see is a good level, and usually with the second channel I'll turn it down slightly. That way I have room for error. If one channel gets hot or loud, then I've got a backup with the other channel. The next thing I want to show you is a menu item, and actually there's a couple of settings in the menu that you may want to adjust. When you go into the menu, use your toggle switch to go up and down, and then press it in when you get to AV Out Setup. And on AV Out Setup, go to Audio Out, and there's 3 options here. There's one setting with channel 1, channel 2, then a channel 1, then a channel 2. And what that allows you to do is select your headphones to monitor both channel 1 and channel 2, or only channel 1 or channel 2. The next one is the HP mode, the headphone mode. Usually I leave this at live because then you don't get a delay in what you're hearing. I typically leave it at live because I'm hearing the sound as it's being spoken. In the recording mode, you are getting the audio after it passes over the record heads, so it's slightly delayed in your headphones in the recording mode. And that is the audio setup for the Panasonic 150.